So in the last vlog, I talked about the Y-Wraps that I got from Cordbag, and I think they're pretty dope. This is my biggest lens, my Tamron 35-150 wrapped up. And before, whether I was traveling on a plane or anything, they would just sit in here, and there was always just like a little bit of room for them to kind of wiggle around. Wrapped up in this, this is like a nice thick piece of padding, extra layer of protection. And then on top of that, push it down in there, and it is not moving at all. So there's no movement. No flexing, just makes me feel a little bit better. Feels like it's a little bit safer to put on the plane. So I'm headed to Florida to film a new product release for Jinxie, one of the #1 Twitch streamers in the world, which is actually an incredible opportunity. But here I'm traveling with my Nanit case, which as you can see weighs over 70 pounds. But with the media pass that I had talked about in one of my previous videos, this has only cost me $50. So if you want to save a bunch of money, all you need to do is make yourself a media pass. It doesn't have to be legit. It's a fake barcode on mine. My sister printed it out on laminate paper. Get yourself one of these, save yourself a ton of money. So I don't know about you, but for some reason when I'm getting on plane rides, I become incredibly productive. I download tons of tutorials for editing or podcasts or anything that just like helps with filmmaking. I've taken some of my lighting courses on a plane. I'm curious what you do when you get on a plane. Is there anything specifically that you watch? Maybe you just watch movies, listen to music. But yeah, let me know. Give me some good recommendations for when I'm on a plane and how I can kill a couple hours. So how did I get this job working for Jinxie? As I've talked about before, I spent a couple years working for SSG, Space Station Gaming, as an esports company. I left there on great terms. I was very upfront with them on why I was leaving when I was leaving. Let them know I wanted to get into freelance, that I wanted to go back home to my family, I have a baby now, all of that. They completely understood. It didn't burn that bridge, and now they have hired me a few times to help them with content. They know that I'm in Dallas, so whenever they have players in Dallas who need content, they hire me out. In this case, they needed me to go to Florida. Blake was not available. I think he was on vacation. It was just in their best interest to send me out, have me show up with all my equipment, and shoot the content that they needed. So this video is basically announcing Jinxie releasing his new Control Freak thumbsticks. So I was working with Control Freak and SteelSeries, and they were basically giving me my deliverables that they needed. They needed to basically have a YouTube ad created. They needed photos taken. They needed stuff of lifestyle, all of that. And we had about 5 or so hours to do this. Thankfully, my boy Jack was there to help me set up lights, to talk to Jinxie while I was getting things set up, just to be an extra pair of hands whenever I needed them. So as you can see, we're shooting in Jinxie's room, which poses some problems. The biggest thing we were running into was just kind of space. And then on top of that, they were requesting some studio quality images. So I did the best I could to provide that, but within the confines of what we were working with, you know, sometimes you're just limited on what you can do. So as far as the equipment I brought, I have my A7S III. I did not bring my FX6 for this one. So I brought my Aputure 60X, which I'm using my SmallRig V-mount battery to power, which you can see on the top left corner. That came in handy so much to not have to plug that in somewhere. Then on the right, you see the Aputure MC, which isn't turned on at the moment, and then my Molus X100. I was going to sell the Molus X100, and I'm glad I did it. This came in so clutch because of the mini honeycomb softbox that it comes with. So for this first shot, I used the X100 to basically key his face, and then I used the 60X bounced off of the ceiling with the hyper reflector to just fill the room.
If your aim look anything like that, it's because you don't have these. These little analog sticks can make this much of a difference.
And do we show gameplay or just?
Sure. We'll cut, like we'll get.
Yeah, we'll cut to gameplay.
Okay. So maybe do it again. We'll do it a couple different times.
Yeah.
And then So for the part of the YouTube ad, I wanted to make it definitely pop a little more, look at a little more professional for his videos and stuff. And so I actually took the Aputure MC, both of them that I have, and I magnetized them to the back of his computer and did a blue light, which I think looked really clean. I think it made the whole video pop out a lot more. And it's why I'm continuing to try to figure out what RGB lights I want. I'm eyeing the Aputure 300C, just trying to figure out what works for me. It is very niche when I use these, but when I do have them, you know, it's really nice to have that color and those options. So do exactly what you did where you're like showing a range of motion.
Now, yep.
Smart. So initially for the photos, they wanted a nice clean background. So I tried to gaff tape up Jinxie's green screen that he uses on his stream. But the problem I was running into is I just didn't have the lighting equipment to do it properly. So I only had the 60X and the X100, which was just causing too many shadows, causing too many problems. I knew that they wouldn't be able to key that out properly. So we actually ended up going to Walmart and buying just black felt. It was in the craft section, and we just tacked it into the wall and just did like basically an infinity background, which came out nice. It makes it way easy for the graphics people to cut him out, put him wherever they need to, and yeah, I think they were pretty happy with it. So the main issue I have when I'm asked to take photos is I only have an A7S III. I don't have like a proper stills photography camera, and I'm constantly wrestling if I should get one or not. I just don't do photos that often. This was just kind of like, I'm already here. This is just part of the deliverables, and it's easy whenever I just have to basically have him pose and they're gonna cut him out for later. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys have, you know, a camera dedicated to photo and one dedicated to video? Do you guys do photo and video, one or the other? Be curious to hear what you guys think.
Get good aim, kid.
One more.